Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Drew Wild. Today we are talking about Uber Eats fixed their mistake and apologized. As I'm sure you all noticed by now, I am less than that of the most positive person in the gig economy. While some of it I believe is justified, I am a firm believer in giving credit where credit is due. And Uber has done something great by me that I wanted to highlight because I don't think this kind of stuff is talked about enough. So with that said, I want to talk about what mistake that Uber Eats made, how they fixed said mistake, and some other important thoughts I have had since this event took place. So with that said, let's get started. What mistake took place? So a couple of weeks back, I got an order on TripRadar and it presented itself as $21.96 or something like that. It was in TripRadar. I wasn't really that knowledgeable on the subject, so I decided, you know what, F it, I'll give it a shot. If anything, I'll know next time not to take orders from TripRadar. And I ended up taking the order, I picked up the item, and I delivered it to the customer. By the time I got the customer's order delivered and tipped, it was $6.60. Now, that's not because it was a tip bait of any kind. It's because that's what they claimed it was only going to be. Like, it was a total bait and switch, and I was pretty pissed about it. But instead of me getting frustrated with Uber and calling them over and over again, fight them on the subject, putting myself through the emotional turmoil of Uber support, and I don't care what anybody says. Sometimes dealing with those support teams on DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub is an emotional battle in its own right. I decided to do what any emotionally stable content creator would do and make a video about it, as well as everything else you need to know about TripRadar. And I'll leave that video in the description if you guys want to check it out, if you need to know more about TripRadar. Because here's my thought process. If anything, the AdSense would make up for any losses I had that day, right? How they fixed it. So weeks went on, I made more videos, I worked on all the apps as much as I could, and one day while I was working, I get this notification. Resolved. Problem with your delivery earnings. I didn't even know that they knew there was a problem. In my mind, I already wrote it off. I wasn't going to go to Uber about it. I didn't reach out to them. They said they resolved an issue. Hi, Joseph. Some of your earnings for certain Uber Eats trips, those accepted and completed through TripRadar between November 19th of 2022 and January 10th, 2023, were miscalculated due to a system error. Some final fares were lower than the amount quoted in the fare estimate, and we are correcting this ASAP. I'm glad to know that they acknowledged that there was a problem with their system itself, and they fixed it. Now, I'm sure that's because they could possibly get sued if they didn't do that, but I wasn't planning on chasing them, so good on them for actually stepping up and making a difference. The issue has since been corrected, and we'll make sure your account is updated with the outstanding amount in your next weekly payment. We know the reliability of our app is essential, and we sincerely apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused the Uber team. Well, first off, if we're talking about the reliability of your app, can we talk about the crappiness of the software itself and how much it glitches out? Like, can we talk about that? But anyway, here was the fare adjustment, $15.46, and the description is TripRadar adjustment. I thought that was the coolest thing. I've never seen Uber step up and do the right thing like that, but it does lead me to have some other thoughts, so let's talk about that. The power of influence. Now, I'm not saying that there is a guarantee that because they're watching my content with a small amount of subscribers that this is the reason that they changed it, that they actually gave me the 15 and change. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they've never heard of me, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's the only reason they knew that there was an issue either, because I didn't talk to Uber Sport about this. I didn't reach out to Uber about this at all. But I know that there was an issue with my earnings and they did the right thing about it. So maybe there is something to be said that they actually changed it because I actually made a video about it. But I wouldn't have had that kind of outcome if I didn't have the influence that I have. And granted, I know it's a very small influence. What do I got, like 2,000 and change in terms of the number of subscribers? So actually speaking, my influence is very limited, but I continuously build it. So keep in mind, if you build your influence, things like this will change for the better. Give Trip Radar a shot. Another thought that people would probably have after me saying that is, hey, you know, maybe Trip Radar is actually worth a shot. And you know what? I would say if you're not using it normally already, then there's no reason to change your strategy. If you're not doing it because you heard that they didn't actually pay me what they said they would pay me, here's my thought on that. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Yes, he did fool you once and fixed it, but is this the continuous cycle you want to put yourself through? I would say probably not. So if you are the kind of person that's just kind of not doing Uber's Trip Radar, I get it. I understand. Stick with what you're already doing. Uber is watching. There is a good chance that Uber is seeing my content and watching it to hear what other people got to say. That's good to know because I know that my voice is actually being heard. And because we know my voice is being heard, can we work on this tip baiting nonsense? Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!